Chapter 1. As requested. No headings or formatting ***. Sometimes, life has a way of delivering moments we never see coming. Moments that begin so ordinary yet stay in our hearts for years, reshaping how we see the people we love the most. This is one of those memories, quiet, emotional, and unforgettable. It began on a cloudy evening when the house felt just a little too quiet, and then everything changed with the sound of the front door opening. Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts or story in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. Now, before I begin, tell me, where are you watching from? I'd love to know which cities and towns are joining me for this memory that stayed with me for years. My son wasn't supposed to be home. He had his own life in another city, busy with work and whatever else young adults fill their days with. It had been a few weeks since we last spoke over the phone, one of those quick conversations where everything sounded fine, even though something in his voice felt distant. So when I heard the door open, I almost thought I imagined it. Then I heard his footsteps, slow, heavy, unsure. "Mom?" he called out. That one word softened something in me immediately. I wiped my hands on a towel and stepped out of the kitchen. There he was, standing in the hallway with his bag slung over one shoulder. His hair was a little messy, and his shoulders were slightly slumped, like he'd been carrying more than just luggage. "You're home," I said, surprised but smiling. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" He tried to smile back, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. I needed to. I just wanted to be here. There was something in the way he said it that made my heart tighten. His eyes, normally so full of light, held something deeper, heavier, almost like they were guarding a storm. I didn't want to push him right away, so I stepped forward and pulled him into a hug. He held on longer than usual. That's when I knew something was wrong. As he sat at the kitchen table, I made tea like I always do when I don't know what else to do. The familiarity of the kettle boiling and the soft clinking of cups helped calm the silence between us. He kept looking down at his hands, fingers tightening and loosening as if he was fighting with his own thoughts. "Are you okay?" I finally asked gently. He hesitated. "I don't know." His voice broke just a little, and that tiny crack in his composure said more than any words could. I felt a mix of worry and tenderness. This was my son, my little boy who used to run through the hallways and bring me flowers from the yard, and now here he was, grown but fragile in a way I hadn't seen in years. "You don't have to tell me right away," I said. "Just know I'm here." He nodded, but his eyes met mine briefly, and in that moment I saw it clearly. Pain, fear, something he wasn't ready to say, something big. We talked about small things for a while, work, the drive home, the weather. But every time he paused, the silence felt like it was holding its breath. The house felt different with him in it again, full but tense, like even the walls were listening. Later that evening, he sat on the couch, staring at the window even though the curtains were drawn. I sat beside him quietly. I didn't want to push him away by asking too many questions, but every instinct in me wanted to protect him from whatever was hurting him. "Mom," he said softly, without looking at me, "can I stay here for a while?" My heart sank, but I kept my voice calm. "Of course, for as long as you need." This time he did look at me. His eyes were glossy, full of something he was holding back. A secret, a heavy one. And even though he didn't say it yet, I felt the weight of it settle between us. In that moment, I knew this visit wasn't just unexpected. It was the beginning of something that would change both of us. His presence changed the rhythm of the house in the days that followed. It wasn't loud or disruptive. If anything, it was quieter than ever. He woke up late, moved slowly, and spent long stretches of time sitting by the window with a cup of coffee that often went cold before he even took a sip. I didn't want to hover, but every time I looked at him, I could see it, that unspoken weight still sitting in his eyes. There were moments when I caught him staring at nothing, lost in thoughts so deep I wondered if he even realized I was in the room. Other times he tried to act normal, asking me about errands or offering to help with dishes, just like he used to when he was younger. He even joked once or twice, though his laugh sounded thin, like it didn't come from the same place it used to. I tried to give him space, but a mother notices everything. One evening, I was folding laundry in the living room when he came in quietly and sat across from me. He didn't say anything at first. He just watched me fold shirts like he used to when he was little and wanted to talk, but didn't know how to start. It brought back memories, nights when he would sit on the edge of my bed, eyes full of worry over school or friends, needing comfort. But he wasn't a child anymore. Whatever this was, it was bigger. "Mom," he said after a long silence, "have you ever felt lost?" The question hit deeper than I expected. I set the laundry aside and sat up straight. "Yes," I said honestly. "More than once." He nodded slowly, like he was expecting that answer but still needed to hear it. "What did you do?" I kept going, I said gently, even when I wasn't sure what the next step was, and I let myself ask for help. He looked down. His hands were clasped together, knuckles tight, fingers trembling slightly. "What if you don't even know what kind of help you need?" That's when I realized he wasn't just lost. He was afraid of saying the wrong thing, of burdening me of whatever truth he was holding back. I moved to sit beside him. "You don't have to figure it out alone," I said softly. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." For a moment, I thought he might finally tell me. His lips parted slightly, his eyes glistened, and I could see the battle behind them, words wanting to escape, fear holding them in. But just as quickly, he looked away. "Not yet," he whispered. I nodded. I didn't push. Sometimes the heart needs time to find the right moment. That night, after he went to bed, I sat in the hallway and stared at his closed door, remembering the years I used to check on him while he slept. Back then, I feared monsters under the bed or nightmares in the dark. But now, the monsters were inside, where I couldn't reach. The next morning, I woke up early and made breakfast, his favorite from childhood, pancakes with blueberries. I wasn't sure if he would eat, but when he came into the kitchen and smelled them, something softened in his expression. "You remembered," he said quietly. "I never forget," I smiled. We sat together, and for a few minutes it almost felt normal. The sunlight came through the window in warm stripes across the table. He cut his pancakes slowly, thoughtfully. Then, out of nowhere, his fork paused halfway to his mouth. "I messed up, Mom," he said. My heart stopped. He didn't look at me, and his voice was barely more than a breath. But those 4 words carried more pain than anything he had said so far. I felt the air shift, slow, heavy. "What happened?" I asked carefully. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His jaw tightened. His eyes filled, but he blinked the tears away before they could fall. "I'm not ready," he murmured. I reached across the table and placed my hand over his. He didn't pull away. He held on. "It's okay," I whispered. "Whenever you're ready, I'm here." He nodded again, but this time there was the smallest flicker of relief in his eyes, like he finally believed he didn't have to carry it alone. That night, I stood outside on the porch with a thin blanket wrapped around my shoulders. The sky was dark, quiet. I could see the faint glow of his bedroom light through the window. He was awake, thinking, preparing maybe. I didn't know what his secret was yet, but I could feel it. It was close. The silence in the house felt different the next day, not heavy like before, but expectant, like the air was holding its breath. My son moved with more awareness, as if he was slowly gathering courage piece by piece. He still wasn't himself, but there was something in his eyes that hadn't been there earlier, a readiness, fragile but real. I kept the day calm on purpose. No big conversations, no pressure. I cooked, tittied, hummed quietly in the kitchen like I used to when he was little. Familiar sounds, familiar scents, sometimes comfort sneaks in through the smallest details. In the afternoon, I found him sitting on the back porch steps, staring at the yard. The grass swayed gently in the breeze, the sky soft and pale. I knew that posture, hands clasped, shoulders lowered. It was the posture of someone on the edge of speaking. I stepped outside and sat beside him without a word. For a while, we just sat in the quiet. The world felt paused. A pair of birds landed on the fence, chirping softly as if even they knew to keep their voices low. He took a breath, let it out. "Mom," he began, voice low, "have you ever made a mistake that changed everything?" I turned to him, but he kept his gaze forward. "Yes," I said gently, "I have." He nodded like he needed that answer. "And did you tell anyone?" That was the hardest part, I admitted. Saying it out loud felt like admitting I wasn't who people thought I was, but holding it in was worse. His lips tightened. "I don't want you to see me differently." Those words pierced through me. I reached over and rested my hand on his arm, not to force him to talk, but to anchor him to something safe. "I could never stop loving you," I said softly, "no matter what." He closed his eyes. A tear escaped before he could stop it. Then he stood up suddenly, like the emotions were too big to sit still with. He paced a few steps, rubbing the back of his neck. I stayed quiet. I knew this moment was delicate, too much pressure, and he'd retreat back behind the silence. Finally, he stopped and turned toward me. "I tried to fix it," he said, voice trembling. "I thought I could handle it alone, but it got worse." My heart pounded, but I kept calm. "Whatever it is, we'll work through it." His eyes met mine, and this time he didn't look away. The pain in them was deep, raw, but there was also trust. "There's more," he whispered. "I know," I said. "Take your time." He sat back down, running his fingers through his hair. His breathing slowed. His shoulders relaxed just a little, like releasing a burden he'd been holding for too long. Then, very quietly, he said, "I was scared to come home. I didn't want to disappoint you." That broke me. I leaned in, my voice soft but steady. "You could never disappoint me by telling me the truth." He stared at me for a long moment. Something shifted in his expression. Fear giving way to vulnerability, and vulnerability turning into courage. "I need to tell you everything," he said finally. "But it's not just about me." A chill ran through me. "What do you mean?" His hand trembled as he clenched it into a fist. His voice dropped even lower. "Someone else is involved." The air felt heavier instantly, like the world knew we had crossed a line and there was no going back. My mind raced, but I kept my face calm. Whatever this was, I needed him to know I could hold it. "Are you in danger?" I asked gently. He hesitated, and that hesitation said more than any answer. "No," he said slowly, "but if I make the wrong choice, someone will be." A quiet gasp caught in my throat, but I didn't let fear take over. I reached for his hand. "I'm here," I said firmly. "You're not alone." His fingers tightened around mine, desperate, needing strength. And just when I thought he would finally tell me, he whispered, "Mom, I don't know who I can trust." I took a deep breath. "Start with me," I said. He looked straight into my eyes, and I could feel it. The truth was coming. He didn't speak right away. He just sat there, holding my hand, his breathing shallow as if each inhale carried the weight of a decision. The late afternoon sun filtered through the trees, casting soft golden light across his face. It made him look both young and tired, like the world had asked too much of him too soon. I could feel the shift in him. The moment when a person stops running from their truth and turns to face it, even if they're terrified. His shoulders rose slowly with a deep breath, then lowered with quiet resolve. "Mom," his voice was barely above a whisper. "What I'm about to tell you, I've never said out loud." I squeezed his hand gently. "You're safe." His eyes glistened, and then, finally, he began. "It started months ago," he said. "At first, I didn't think much of it. Just a small problem I thought I could manage. I told myself it would pass. But it didn't. It got bigger. I stayed quiet, listening. I tried to handle it on my own because I didn't want to worry you. I didn't want you to think I wasn't strong enough." My chest ached. Needing help doesn't make you weak. He nodded slightly, but his gaze drifted. "I know that now. But back then, pride can be blinding." There was a long pause. He stared at the ground, jaw tight, gathering courage. "I trusted someone," he said slowly. "Someone I shouldn't have." That sentence sent a tremor of concern through me. "They offered to help," he continued. "They said they could fix things. And at first, it seemed like they did. Everything felt easier, safer." He shook his head, but there was a price. His fists clenched in his lap. A price I didn't see coming. I felt a chill run through me. What kind of price? He looked at me then, and in his eyes, I saw fear, shame, and something deeper. Responsibility. "They started asking me for things," he said. "Favors, information, choices that didn't feel right." My breath caught. "Did you say no?" "I tried," he said. "But by then, I was already in too deep. They knew things about me. Things I didn't want exposed. And they used it." I reached for his arm instinctively. "Are you being threatened?" He hesitated, and that hesitation was enough. "I'm not in physical danger," he said carefully. "But if I don't go along with what they want, someone else could be hurt. Someone innocent." The wind rustled through the yard, but everything felt still. "Who?" I asked softly. His voice broke. "I can't say yet. Not until I figure out how to protect them." Protect them. Even while he was hurting, his heart was thinking of someone else. Tears stung my eyes, but I blinked them back. This wasn't the moment for my emotions. This was the moment to be strong for him. "Listen to me," I said, grounding my voice with calm strength. "We will handle this. Together. Whatever it is, we will find a way." He swallowed hard, his eyes locked on mine. "You're not disappointed?" My heart shattered. Disappointed? I shook my head, reaching up to gently touch his face like I did when he was a child. "I am proud of you." He blinked, confused. "Proud?" "Yes," I said firmly. "Because even with everything you're facing, you still care about doing what's right. You still want to protect someone else. That takes incredible strength." His lips trembled. He looked away quickly, wiping his eyes. And then, for the first time since he arrived, he exhaled a breath that sounded like relief. "I felt so alone," he said quietly. "You're not alone anymore, I promised. From this moment on, we face this together." He nodded, but then his expression shifted, uncertain, hesitant. "There's something else I need to tell you," he said. "Something I've hidden for a long time." I looked at him, listening with my whole heart. He took another breath. This secret didn't start with them. He placed a hand over his chest. It started with me.